What happens when the pursuit of internet fame takes a deadly turn? A young influencer's life spirals into chaos, culminating in a shocking crime that rattles the online community. This is the haunting story of obsession, danger, and the darker side of fame. In 2021, the rise of internet fame became a double-edged sword for many. Young creators chased likes and followers, often losing themselves in the process. But for some, the ambition became an all-consuming obsession, leading to dire consequences. Meet Sarah, a promising young influencer who captivated audiences with her vibrant personality and lifestyle vlogs. Her followers adored her, and she quickly amassed a loyal fan base. But behind the glamour, a darker reality loomed. As her popularity soared, Sarah became increasingly obsessed with maintaining her image. Every post was scrutinized, every comment weighed heavily on her mind. She felt the pressure to be perfect, leading to sleepless nights and anxiety. In her quest for validation, Sarah began to engage with her followers on a more personal level. This opened doors to her life that should have remained closed, leading to unforeseen dangers. Some fans became too invested, crossing the line. One fan, in particular, became fixated on Sarah. Alex, an avid follower, admired her lifestyle, but soon developed a dangerous obsession. He believed she was destined to be with him, regardless of her own wishes. As Sarah continued to share more of her life, she unknowingly invited Alex deeper into her world. His messages became increasingly erratic and concerning. Friends began to notice the change in Sarah's demeanor as fear settled in. In a chilling turn of events, Sarah received a message from Alex that shattered her sense of security. It hinted at knowledge of her whereabouts, making it clear he was watching her every move. Panic set in as she realized the severity of the situation. Despite feeling threatened, Sarah was torn between her duty to her followers and her safety. She shared her fears online, seeking support, but this only fueled Alex's obsession. He interpreted her vulnerability as a sign to pursue her even more fervently. As weeks passed, Alex's obsession intensified. He began to show up at events Sarah attended, lurking in the shadows. Friends urged her to take action, but Sarah felt trapped by her fame and the fear of losing her followers. One fateful evening, Sarah was attending a local influencer meetup, a chance to connect with fans. Unbeknownst to her, Alex was there too, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to confront her. As Sarah mingled, she suddenly felt a cold hand on her shoulder. It was Alex. His face twisted with obsession, he confessed his feelings, sending Sarah into a panic. She tried to escape, but he wouldn't let her go. Chaos erupted as Sarah screamed for help. Friends rushed to her aid, but Alex's grip tightened. In a desperate attempt to escape, she pushed him away, causing him to stumble back. But he was relentless. In his fury, Alex decided to take his obsession to a horrifying new level. He followed Sarah home that night, his mind racing with delusions of love and ownership. The line between admiration and madness blurred. As Sarah settled into her home, she felt a creeping sense of dread. The air felt thick, and her instincts screamed that something was wrong. Little did she know, Alex was waiting just outside, plotting his next move. The following morning, Sarah's friends grew worried when they didn't hear from her. They rushed to her apartment, but what they found would haunt them forever. The door was ajar, and silence engulfed the space. Inside, the scene was chilling. Sarah was missing, and her belongings were scattered. Panic set in as her friends realized they had no idea how to find her, nor could they comprehend the danger lurking outside. Friends contacted the authorities, and the search for Sarah began. Meanwhile, Alex felt a twisted sense of satisfaction, believing he had finally proven his love. The police had no idea of the obsession that had spiraled out of control. Days turned into weeks with no sign of Sarah. Her followers grew anxious, flooding social media with pleas for help. But as the case gained media attention, Alex continued to lurk in the shadows. Feeling invincible, Finally, the breakthrough came when a video posted by a local resident captured a figure resembling Alex near Sarah's apartment. It was a crucial piece of evidence, igniting a manhunt that would uncover the depths of his obsession. With mounting evidence against him, Alex was apprehended. The police discovered chilling messages revealing the intensity of his obsession. He believed that Sarah was meant to be with him no matter the cost. The community was devastated by the news of Sarah's disappearance. Her story captured the hearts of many, turning into a cautionary tale about the dangers of online fame and the hidden threats lurking behind screens. As the investigation continued, Alex's trial revealed the harrowing details of their encounters. He spoke of love, but the reality was a twisted narrative fueled by fantasy and obsession, showcasing the dark side of internet fame. Sarah's family fought tirelessly for justice, advocating for stricter laws to protect individuals from online harassment. Their strength in the face of tragedy inspired many, raising awareness about the real dangers of social media. In the end, Alex was convicted, but the scars of his obsession ran deep. Sarah's story became a lesson for many, urging influencers and viewers alike to tread carefully in their online lives. The tragedy of Sarah's story reminds us that fame can have a dark side. As we navigate the digital world, let us remember the importance of safety, awareness, and the human connections that truly matter. In the aftermath of Sarah's story, the online community was left reeling. Many influencers began to speak out about the pressures of fame and its potential dangers. They shared personal stories of encounters that made them question their own safety. Their voices echoed the need for stricter guidelines on content creation. Meanwhile, Sarah's family struggled to cope with their profound loss. They launched a foundation in her name to raise awareness about the dangers of internet fame. This foundation aimed to educate young people about the risks associated with online interactions. The foundation quickly gained traction, attracting media attention. Workshops were held in schools, helping students understand the importance of privacy and safety online. The initiative aimed to empower youth to make informed choices in a digital landscape. As Sarah's story continued to circulate, new influencers emerged, often referencing her as a cautionary tale. They discussed the fine line between sharing their lives and remaining safe. This brought a wave of discussions surrounding the ethics of internet fame. Despite these positive movements, some individuals were drawn to the darker side of fame. Copycat incidents began to appear online, where individuals sought notoriety through dangerous stunts or harmful behaviors. This raised alarms across the digital platform. Law enforcement noticed the uptick in dangerous online behavior and decided to take action. They collaborated with social media platforms to implement stricter measures against harmful content. This sparked a nationwide conversation about responsibility online. The conversation around internet safety began to include mental health resources. Experts emphasized the need for influencers and viewers to have access to support systems. Mental wellness became a focal point in discussions about online fame. Amidst these changes, Sarah's story was highlighted in documentaries and podcasts. Each retelling served as a reminder of the potential consequences of internet fame and the importance of awareness. Her legacy continued to educate and warn. As Sarah's foundation flourished, her family received stories from young people who were inspired to change their online habits. They felt compelled to share their experiences and how Sarah's story transformed their understanding of online safety. However, the internet's unpredictability continued to pose challenges. New threats emerged, including cyberbullying and doxing. With each new case, the conversation intensified, requiring constant vigilance and education. Influencers began to band together, forming alliances to promote a safer online environment. They created campaigns that pushed for ethical standards in content creation, emphasizing respect and responsibility in digital interactions. The backlash against harmful content garnered the attention of lawmakers, who started to draft policies aimed at protecting users online. This marked a pivotal shift in how digital platforms were regulated. As these changes took shape, Sarah's family found solace in the growing movement. They met with other families affected by similar tragedies, forming a support network that fueled their advocacy efforts. Online platforms began to implement features aimed at improving user safety, such as enhanced privacy settings and reporting systems. This was seen as a crucial step to protect vulnerable users from potential threats. Despite these advancements, the digital world remained fraught with peril. Scandals continued to rise as influencers faced scrutiny for their actions and the impact they had on their followers. As the influence of social media grew, so did the number of individuals seeking fame at any cost. The cycle of obsession persisted, illustrating how the allure of fame could cloud judgment and lead to disastrous consequences. Sarah's name became synonymous with the conversation about online safety and the consequences of fame. As new creators emerged, they were reminded of her story, a virtual legacy meant to educate and protect. The movement that began with Sarah's story had now transformed into a widespread initiative. Schools, organizations, and influencers collaborated to create a unified front against the dangers of internet fame. As we reflect on Sarah's journey, it's crucial to understand the ongoing battle against obsession and the need for awareness. The digital landscape continues to evolve, and with it, the conversation around safety must persist. Following Sarah's tragic death, a wave of fear washed over her community. Parents began scrutinizing their children's social media use, worried about the potential dangers lurking online. Schools organized workshops addressing the psychological effects of fame and the pressure it exerted on young users. In the wake of the tragedy, local influencers felt a responsibility to change their content. Many shifted from glamorizing fame to sharing cautionary tales, emphasizing the importance of mental health. They used their platforms to advocate for healthier online habits. Meanwhile, Sarah's family sought to honor her memory. They began a foundation dedicated to raising awareness about the risks associated with online fame. Their goal was to educate young people about the potential psychological toll of social media. As Sarah's story gained national attention, news outlets began to investigate similar cases. They uncovered a disturbing trend. A growing number of young individuals were experiencing anxiety and depression linked to their online personas. Some were even driven to self-harm. In response, mental health professionals started to speak out. They emphasized the need for better support systems for young people navigating social media. Counseling services began to incorporate discussions about online fame into their programs, helping clients process their experiences. Social media platforms took note of the growing concern. They began implementing new features designed to promote mental well-being, such as reminders to take breaks and resources for users struggling with anxiety. However, critics argued these measures were merely band-aids. The dialogue around internet fame continued to evolve. Documentaries and podcasts began to explore the dark side of online celebrity status. They highlighted the stories of those who faced similar struggles, creating a sense of community among the affected. As awareness grew, more young people began to share their stories publicly. They spoke out about the pressures of maintaining an online image and the toll it took on their mental health. Their courage inspired others to seek help and fostered a conversation about authenticity. Sarah's story also caught the attention of lawmakers. They began proposing legislation to regulate social media platforms and promote safer online environments for children and teens. The discussions were contentious, highlighting differing views on regulation and freedom of expression. In schools, curriculum changes began to take shape. Educators integrated lessons on digital citizenship, teaching students about responsible online behavior and the consequences of fame. They aimed to empower the next generation with knowledge and tools to navigate the digital world. As Sarah's foundation gained traction, they organized annual events to bring the community together. These gatherings served as both memorials and educational forums, fostering a supportive environment for discussions about the challenges of social media. Digital creators began collaborating with mental health organizations to produce content that addressed the realities of online life. They aimed to break the stigma surrounding mental health issues, encouraging discussions that were often avoided in traditional media. The media frenzy around internet fame also sparked backlash. Some argued that the sensationalism of tragic stories perpetuated the cycle of obsession and fame-seeking behavior. They called for responsible journalism that prioritized the well-being of individuals over clicks. As a result of Sarah's legacy, peer-led initiatives began to emerge in schools. Students took it upon themselves to educate their peers about the dangers of online fame. They hosted workshops and created online campaigns to spread awareness. The ongoing conversations surrounding Sarah's case prompted researchers to delve deeper into the psychological effects of social media. Studies revealed alarming statistics, including a rise in feelings of inadequacy among young users due to comparisons with curated online lives. Amidst the changes, Sarah's friends continued to advocate for her memory. They organized runs and walks to raise funds for mental health resources, ensuring that her story remained a catalyst for change. Their determination kept her spirit alive. As public discourse evolved, some platforms introduced mentorship programs pairing influencers with at-risk youth. The goal was to provide guidance and support, helping young people navigate the challenges of online fame with a trusted mentor. In universities, courses delving into social media ethics began appearing in curriculums. Students studied the implications of their online actions and the responsibility they hold as future content creators. They learned the importance of advocating for change within the digital landscape. Sarah's parents became vocal advocates for policy change, testifying before committees about the need for stricter regulations on social media. Their heartbreaking testimony resonated with many, pushing lawmakers to take action. In conclusion, Sarah's story remains a poignant reminder of the duality of internet fame. While it can bring attention and success, it can also lead to tragic consequences. The conversation around online safety continues, influenced by her legacy and the changes it inspired. In the wake of Sarah's tragic death, her family struggled to find solace. They sifted through her online presence, trying to piece together the events leading to that fateful day. Each post and comment reflected the complex relationship she had with her followers, revealing a world both admired and feared. As they delved deeper into her social media interactions, they uncovered disturbing patterns of obsessive behavior from some fans. They learned that a few individuals had taken their admiration to alarming levels, blurring the lines between fandom and obsession, which left them both shocked and terrified. Among the most chilling discoveries was a series of messages from a specific follower, who became fixated on Sarah. The family saved screenshots of these messages, portraying a level of intensity that felt threatening. It was as if this fan had crossed an unspoken boundary into her personal life. Feeling growing unease, Sarah's family sought help from authorities, providing them with the evidence they had gathered. Law enforcement began to investigate this individual, realizing that Sarah was not the only influencer facing similar risks from obsessive fans. In the months following Sarah's passing, other influencers began sharing their stories, revealing that many faced harassment and stalking from their followers. The tragedy sparked a broader conversation about the mental health impacts of social media fame and the responsibilities of platforms to protect their users. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok faced mounting pressure to implement stricter safety measures. Advocates called for better reporting systems and features that could alert users about dangerous interactions before they escalated, reflecting growing awareness of online safety issues. As public awareness grew, Sarah's story became a rallying cry for legislative change. Lawmakers began drafting new bills aimed at increasing accountability for social media companies, pushing for transparency regarding user safety and data handling. While these changes were being discussed, Sarah's family continued to champion her legacy, participating in interviews and advocacy campaigns. They aimed to ensure that her story would not be forgotten, shining a light on the darker aspects of internet fame. Meanwhile, the individual who had obsessed over Sarah faced legal repercussions. Charged with harassment, they became a case study in the dangers of unchecked fandom, highlighting the fine line between admiration and obsession and the consequences that can follow. As the trial progressed, shocking revelations emerged. painting a complex picture of the defendant's motivations. Experts weighed in, discussing mental health issues and the impact of online interactions on behavior, sparking debates about responsibility and accountability in digital spaces. In the midst of the trial, Sarah's family shared their grief and resilience, emphasizing the importance of mental health awareness. They hoped to inspire others to speak out about their experiences, reminding everyone that they are not alone in their struggles with online fame. As Sarah's legacy grew, educational programs began to emerge, aimed at teaching young influencers about the potential dangers of internet fame. Workshops and seminars focused on personal safety, mental health, and the importance of setting boundaries in online spaces. Media outlets also played a pivotal role in this transformation, producing documentaries and articles that explored the complexities of internet fame. These pieces sought to educate the public while honoring Sarah's memory, illustrating the need for caution in the digital age. As the conversation surrounding internet fame evolved, Sarah's story became integral to discussions about ethics in social media. Influencers began advocating for responsible platform practices, pushing for a culture that prioritizes user safety over profit. While positive changes began to take shape, the shadow of Sarah's story still loomed large. Her family and supporters continued to honor her memory by participating in online movements, sharing information and resources to empower others facing similar challenges. With Sarah's story serving as a cautionary tale, mental health organizations began to collaborate with tech companies to develop programs focusing on user well-being. Their goal was to create supportive environments that foster healthy online interactions, reducing the risk of obsession and harassment. As these initiatives gained traction, Sarah's family received letters of support from people around the world. Each message served as a reminder of the impact her story had on countless lives, creating a global community dedicated to online safety and mental health awareness. In a poignant twist, a documentary detailing Sarah's life and the events surrounding her death premiered, receiving wide acclaim. It highlighted not only her struggles but also the resilience of her family and the positive change they inspired in the wake of their tragedy. The documentary spurred discussion among viewers, prompting more influencers to share their own stories. A wave of content began to emerge, with creators addressing their own experiences with online fame, pushing for a collective effort to foster safer online communities. However, the journey was not without its challenges. A backlash arose from some individuals who felt that influencers should simply handle the negative aspects of fame themselves. This sparked debates on accountability and the mental health burdens influencers often carry silently. Amidst the challenges, influential figures in the industry began advocating for mental health resources to be more accessible. They stressed the importance of self-care and spoke candidly about their own battles, encouraging others to prioritize their well-being over online pressures. As discussions around mental health continued, new organizations emerged dedicated to supporting influencers in navigating their fame. These groups provided resources, counseling, and community support, ensuring that no one had to face their struggles alone. As Sarah's legacy continued to unfold, a documentary series was launched to further explore the phenomenon of internet fame. Each episode delved into different aspects, highlighting the stories of influencers who faced similar challenges and the coping strategies they developed. With each episode, viewer engagement surged as audiences connected with the relatable stories and raw emotions. The series not only entertained, but also educated, prompting discussions about mental health, boundaries, and the importance of self-advocacy. However, despite the positive momentum, the topic remained contentious. Critics argued that such series trivialized serious issues, while advocates insisted that sharing these narratives was crucial for change and understanding the psychological toll of fame. As the impact of Sarah's story and subsequent discussions lingered, grassroots initiatives began to sprout across various platforms. Influencers started creating safe spaces where followers could share their experiences without fear of judgment or backlash. In parallel, educational institutions recognized the need for digital literacy programs, integrating social media ethics and mental health education into their curricula. This strategic move aimed to prepare future generations for the realities of fame and the responsibilities that come with it. As Sarah's influence continued to ripple through society, the tech industry began exploring advanced algorithms to detect harmful interactions. By actively monitoring conversations, they hoped to prevent harassment and protect users before problems escalated. Despite these advancements, some individuals remained skeptical of tech companies' intentions. They voiced concerns about data privacy and the ethical implications of surveillance in an effort to keep users safe, igniting discussions that transcended the original narrative of Sarah's story. Amid this evolving discourse, Sarah's family remained invested in advocacy, using their platform to highlight ongoing issues in online safety. They connected with organizations worldwide to push for policies that would prioritize the well-being of users over profits. As time went on, Sarah's story continued to evoke powerful emotions and discussions. Support groups emerged, offering safe havens for those grappling with the pressures of online fame, allowing individuals to share their burdens and experiences in confidence. Recognizing the need for proactive mental health interventions, community leaders collaborated with therapists to create resources specifically tailored for influencers. These resources emphasized coping strategies and highlighted the importance of seeking help when needed. Meanwhile, the legal landscape surrounding online harassment began to shift. New laws were proposed to address the gaps in existing legislation, aiming to provide influencers with greater protections against obsessive fans and harmful interactions. As these changes took shape, Sarah's family felt a sense of hope. They knew that their daughter's story was making a difference, not just for them, but for countless others navigating the treacherous waters of internet fame. While the road to reform was long, the collective efforts of advocates, lawmakers, and influencers began to weave a safety net for vulnerable individuals. Each story shared contributed to a larger narrative, reinforcing the need for change within the digital space. With Sarah's legacy as a guiding light, influencers started to create content that not only entertained, but also educated their audiences about the nuances of internet fame. They leveraged their platforms to spread awareness, advocating for healthier online environments. As discussions about mental health awareness permeated social media, new trends emerged focusing on vulnerability and authenticity. Influencers began sharing their struggles openly, emphasizing the importance of mental health in their lives, creating a culture of support. However, not all responses to these revelations were positive. Some skeptics criticized influencers for seeking attention through their struggles, sparking further debate about the line between advocacy and exploitation within the digital sphere. Despite the criticisms, the movement toward mental health awareness among influencers gained momentum. New partnerships formed between mental health organizations and social media platforms, focusing on creating resources and support systems for users in need. As these collaborations flourished, Sarah's family remained at the forefront of advocacy, attending events and raising awareness about the necessity of taking care of mental health in the face of online fame's pressures. They continued to inspire others with their strength. As conversations evolved, the impact of Sarah's story began to resonate within educational institutions. Schools started to implement programs that fostered discussions about mental health and internet safety, encouraging students to prioritize their well-being. Meanwhile, a new documentary focused on the aftermath of Sarah's story was announced, aiming to document the changes in both legislation and public perception regarding online safety. The creators sought to highlight positive strides while addressing ongoing challenges. As anticipation built for the documentary's release, Sarah's family continued to share their journey openly. Through social media, they offered insights into their grief and healing process, turning their pain into a source of strength for others. As the documentary premiered, it garnered attention not only for its emotional depth, but also for the actionable steps it proposed. Viewers were encouraged to engage in discussions about online safety and support mental health advocacy in their communities. In the documentary's aftermath, A surge of grassroots movements began to take shape across various platforms. Influencers, empowered by Sarah's story, united to advocate for safer online spaces, ensuring that her legacy would continue to inspire change. Sarah's story reminds us that the digital world, while full of potential, can also harbor darkness. It is our collective responsibility to foster a safer online environment for all, ensuring that no one is left to navigate the challenges of fame alone. In the aftermath of Sarah's death, her family began receiving harrowing messages from fans and critics alike, revealing the toxic nature of internet fame. These messages often oscillated between expressions of grief and cruel taunts, highlighting the polarized response to her story. The digital divide became clear. Even in tragedy, some sought to exploit her legacy for personal gain. Determined to honor Sarah, her family launched an online campaign advocating for mental health awareness and the need for digital safety regulations. They partnered with organizations dedicated to creating safer online environments, hoping to prevent others from experiencing similar pain. This movement quickly gained traction, galvanizing supporters across social media platforms. Despite their efforts, the family faced backlash from trolls who thrived on negativity. Some accused them of seeking fame through tragedy, while others trivialized Sarah's struggles. This harassment only fueled the family's resolve to speak out against the very culture that led to their daughter's downfall. As the movement grew, so did the public discussion surrounding internet fame and its psychological toll. Experts began to weigh in, highlighting alarming statistics about mental health issues linked to social media pressures. The digital landscape was revealed as a double-edged sword, offering connection while simultaneously risking the well-being of its users. Amidst the chaos, a documentary team approached Sarah's family, seeking to create a film that would immortalize her story and its lessons. While hesitant at first, they recognized the potential to reach a larger audience, raising awareness about the dangers of unchecked fame and online interactions. Ultimately, they agreed to participate, hoping to shed light on the darker sides of internet fame. The resulting documentary premiered to mixed reviews, stirring conversations worldwide about the ethics of online fame. Viewers were moved by Sarah's story, prompting many to reflect on their own behaviors and responsibilities in the digital age. However, it also sparked debates about the fine line between fame and exploitation, leaving the family grappling with mixed feelings. As the media frenzy surrounding the documentary slowly faded, Sarah's family continued their work in advocacy. They organized workshops and seminars aimed at educating young internet users about the potential pitfalls of online fame. Their dedication transformed their grief into a powerful force for change, inspiring others to prioritize mental health and safety online. However, the shadows of Sarah's story remained a haunting reminder of the volatility of internet fame. Many who had followed her journey struggled to cope with the loss, illustrating the profound impact of her life and death on her followers. Some even began to question their own pursuit of online notoriety, recognizing the potential consequences. The legacy of Sarah's story pushed many to reconsider their approach to social media, advocating for more compassion and understanding in online communities. Her name became synonymous with a movement aimed at fostering empathy in the digital realm. Grassroots initiatives sprang up, encouraging users to support one another rather than tear each other down. Yet, with every breakthrough, the risk of exploitation loomed large. New influencers emerged, sometimes falling into the same traps that ensnared Sarah. This cycle of fame and tragedy continued, reminding advocates that their work was far from over. With every success came new challenges to navigate in the ever-evolving digital landscape. As we reflect on Sarah's story, we are reminded of the delicate balance between connection and vulnerability in the digital age. Her legacy continues to spark important conversations about the responsibility we all share in fostering a safer online environment. In remembrance, let us strive to create a world where fame does not come at the cost of mental health and human dignity. As Sarah's story gained traction, her followers began to morph into a phenomenon. an unsettling blend of admiration and obsession. They would go to extreme lengths to keep her in their lives, blurring the lines between fan and stalker. This devotion turned toxic, threatening not only her peace but her very existence. Within weeks, Sarah began receiving alarming messages from individuals claiming to be her biggest fans. While some conveyed support, others harbored a darker intent. They flooded her inbox with declarations of love, but also veiled threats that made her skin crawl. The chilling intensity of these messages escalated, leading Sarah to seek help from the platform. However, the support system appeared ill-equipped to handle the complexities of her situation. It was a cruel reminder of the limitations in protecting digital celebrities from their own fans. In her attempt to reclaim some semblance of normalcy, Sarah decided to cut back on her online presence. Yet, this only fueled the frenzy. Her absence from social media led to rampant speculation among her followers, igniting rumors that spiraled out of control. As the rumors escalated, they drew the attention of even more extreme individuals. Some took it upon themselves to investigate her disappearance, gathering information that blurred the line between concern and obsession. This amateur sleuthing only added to her fear. One individual in particular became fixated on Sarah. His obsession quickly morphed into a dangerous fixation. He started tracking her every move, convinced that he was meant to save her from the supposed dangers lurking in her life. The true horror began when Sarah realized she was being followed. One evening, she spotted the figure lingering outside her apartment. Panic set in as she hurried inside, locking the door, her heart racing. The sense of safety she once had was shattering. In an attempt to regain control, Sarah contacted the police. But she was met with skepticism. The authorities dismissed her fears as mere anxiety over her online reputation. This failure to validate her experience left her feeling more vulnerable than ever. Feeling isolated, Sarah turned to her close friends. They rallied around her, urging her to take her safety seriously. Together, they devised a plan to document every interaction and establish a safety protocol to shield her from the distressing situation. Meanwhile, the obsessive follower grew angrier with Sarah's increased precautions. He began sending more threatening messages, convinced that he was entitled to her life. With each message, Sarah felt her world closing in, her fear amplifying with every passing day. Just when Sarah thought things couldn't get worse, she received an email that shook her to the core. It contained personal details that only someone close to her could know. Suddenly, her safety felt like a distant memory, replaced by sheer terror. In a desperate effort to protect herself, Sarah made the difficult decision to relocate. She packed her belongings and moved to a different city, hoping to escape the dark shadow that had loomed over her life. But could she truly outrun her demons? Settling into her new environment proved challenging. Even in a different city, the fear lingered. Sarah found herself looking over her shoulder, haunted by the past and the lingering threat that someone might be watching her every move. In time, Sarah attempted to rebuild her life, focusing on positive outlets and engaging in therapy. But the scars of her experience ran deep. Each interaction, each social event, felt tainted by the shadow of her past experiences. As Sarah navigated her new normal, she became an advocate for online safety. She began sharing her story, raising awareness about the potential dangers of internet fame and the importance of mental health support for those in the public eye. Her journey resonated with many, sparking essential dialogues about the responsibilities of social media platforms in protecting users. With each talk, she hoped to empower others to take their safety seriously and foster healthier online environments. Despite her courage, the weight of her past still loomed large. Sarah often battled feelings of paranoia, questioning if her past would ever truly stay behind her. Would she ever feel safe again, or would the shadows of her experience always follow her? In her ongoing advocacy, Sarah sought to partner with mental health professionals to create resources aimed at helping individuals facing similar challenges. Her mission was to prevent others from experiencing the same harrowing reality she endured. As she continued to share her story, the ripple effects were profound. Survivors of similar experiences reached out, sharing their struggles and thanking her for shedding light on an often overlooked issue in the digital age. The journey was far from easy. Sarah still faced criticism and doubt from some who questioned her experiences. Yet her resilience and determination never wavered as she pressed on, firm in her resolve to advocate for change. As Sarah's advocacy grew, so did her platform. She began collaborating with organizations focused on internet safety, helping to create strategies that would protect vulnerable individuals from the dark side of fame. However, the digital landscape is ever evolving. With new platforms emerging, Sarah knew that the fight for safety would be ongoing. She remained vigilant, aware that the shadows from her past could resurface at any moment. Reflecting on her journey, Sarah began to understand that healing was not linear. Each day presented its own challenges, and while she had made significant strides, the scars remained a part of her story. In sharing her experiences, she hoped to inspire others to seek help and support. Through her advocacy, Sarah aimed to create a community where vulnerability was met with compassion and understanding, not judgment. As we conclude Sarah's story, we are reminded of the fragile line between fame and safety. Her journey reflects the pressing need for awareness, empathy, and responsibility in the age of social media. May we all strive to create spaces where individuals can thrive without fear, fostering a culture of kindness in the digital world.